wanted to make this video about grieving because recently I lost some loved ones, and I wanted to better understand the range of emotions that I was going through. Sadness, anger, frustration, disbelief. I'm still in a state of disbelief. I haven't fully dealt with it yet, but I just wanted to share some of the information that I found about grieving and the grieving process. I came across this article on a website called helpguide.org. And what I found really helpful about this article was the fact that it does list a lot of the emotions that I was feeling. Further down in the article, it's got a section called symptoms of grief. And while loss affects people in different ways, many of us experience the following symptoms when we're grieving: shock and disbelief, sadness, guilt, anger, fear. And they even have some physical symptoms of grief listed. Symptoms like fatigue, nausea, lowered immunity, weight loss or weight gain, aches and pains, and even insomnia. Sadness is probably the most common emotion felt. They say profound sadness is probably the most universally experienced symptom of grief. You may have feelings of emptiness, despair, yearning, or deep loneliness, and you may also cry a lot or feel emotionally unstable. Anger, even if the loss was nobody's fault, you may feel angry and resentful. If you lost a loved one, you may be angry with yourself, God, the doctors, or even the person who died for abandoning you. You may feel the need to blame someone for the injustice that was done to you. And it goes on to talk about the grieving process and how it's a highly individual experience. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. It depends on your personality, your coping style, life experience, and how significant the loss was to you. They have some myths. They dispel some myths here in the article that was I thought was really helpful. A couple of examples is there's a myth saying that the pain will go away faster if you ignore it, and they say trying to ignore your pain or keep it from surfacing will only make it worse in the long run. For healing, it is necessary to face your grief and actively deal with it. Another myth: it's important to be strong in the face of loss. And the fact of the matter is, feeling sad, frightened, or lonely is a normal reaction to loss. Crying doesn't mean you're weak. You don't need to protect your family or friends by putting on a brave front. Showing your true feelings can help them and you. And I thought that was helpful. Talking about moving on. Moving on means you've accepted your loss, but that's not the same as forgetting. You can move on with your life and keep the memory of someone or something you lost as an important part of you. In fact, as we move through life, these memories can become more and more integral to defining the people we are. Acknowledge your pain. Accept that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. Understand that your grieving process will be unique to you. Seek out support from people who care about you. Support yourself emotionally by taking care of yourself physically. And recognize the difference between grief and depression. And if you are depressed, definitely seek help. I'll finish by going over briefly what it says about support. Pain of grief can often cause you to want to withdraw and retreat into your shell, but having the face-to-face support of other people is vital to healing from loss. Even if you're not comfortable talking about your feelings under normal circumstances, it's important to express them when you're grieving. While sharing your loss can make the burden of grief easier to carry, that doesn't mean that every time you interact with your friends and family, you need to talk about your loss. Comfort can also come from just being around others who care about you. The key is not to isolate yourself. I'll leave the links to the resources in the description below. If you're still watching, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And take care of yourselves and hug your family and your friends.